So do you think, like, right now, hey, all I'm asking for is for NATO to back off of Ukraine and stop inviting them.
Mm-hmm.
NATO is opening the doors for Ukraine to join NATO. And that's a way of NATO saying, yeah, Putin, we thought you were strong. You're really not. If a small little place like Ukraine is able to hang with you, and you haven't done anything yet, yeah, we are letting Ukraine, considering them joining NATO. What do you have to say about that? So then he goes and sits there as a man running a country called Russia with a rich history of animosity towards one country in the world, which is America, because philosophically we're on complete opposite ends, at least at one point, before Ronald Reagan comes up and says, tear down the wall, et cetera, Gorbachev. Okay, great. Do you think Putin's at a point where it's a turning point where he's got to make a decision? You think he's sitting there? Or no, he's not there, and he's going to just sit there and negotiate and figure out a way to do this and lose this and allow Ukraine to join NATO?
I cannot put myself in Putin's head.
I was hoping you could do that.
Yeah. I don't know what his calculations are, what his breaking point is. I think it's amazing, the resistance of the Ukrainians. I heard Mike Pompeo, the former Secretary of State, say the other day that it doesn't surprise him that Russia hasn't been able to pull this off. He said the ability of any nation to move hundreds of thousands of forces and have supply chain and vehicles that work, he said that's a daunting task. It's so hard to pull off that he said it doesn't surprise me Russia couldn't do it. I think Russia is now being seen for what it is, which is an absolute overrated military power. They still have nuclear weapons, so as long as those nuclear weapons can fly, there's a danger, and we have to take it seriously. But the ability to pull off a significant land invasion is really, really hard unless you drill all the time, train all the time, prep all the time, which the United States does. We're one of the few who can do it. Russia's hollow.
You know what? By the way, would you agree that most people thought Russia would have destroyed Ukraine?
Yes.
Most people were not. Like, if it's like a football game, like, oh, they're going to crush them. And then, oh my God, what the hell happened here? This was not supposed to, Patriots were supposed to beat the Giants, but they came back. This is very weird.
But is it really Ukraine, though, or did they kind of, to use your sports analogy, they've
got
got a couple all-stars on the sidelines that you're
helping
putting
them
in?
out?
Right.
It's like a last-minute guy you pull in. But I guess, okay, so Shamat the other day is talking to Lex, I think. He's talking to Lex. He's on his podcast, and the conversation was about America with the interest rates and what we're doing and Powell and increasing the rates. We can't afford a war right now because, money is so expensive for us right now that we couldn't finance a war right now. Where we're not ready for something like that. How much of that is true? Like, do you think if something did happen and America needed to finance a war, it wouldn't be, they would still do it? Versus how much you think rates and a person like Powell, he called him the most powerful man in the world because him increasing the rates is preventing America from being on attack mode where you have to kind of take the step back. Do you agree with him?
War should never, ever be about whether we can or cannot afford it. War should only be about, do we have no choice but to fight it? And if you have no choice but to fight it, then you're going to fund it. So you just have to get the sequence right, and it has nothing to do with money. But, to Donald Trump's credit, Trump's right when he says he was the one president of the recent note who's kept us out of wars. He ended wars. He gets the credit for destroying ISIS. Other leaders in the Middle East share in that credit as well. But Trump stepped up and empowered the military and sent the signal to the Arab Middle East, fight these suckers, take them out, I'm going to have your back, as opposed to President Obama, who said, we can't attack them. And Trump got it right. And then Trump did keep us out of wars. And I also believe that with the withdrawal from Afghanistan, if Trump were president, the Taliban would not have gotten away with what they did, and Kabul would not have fallen. I think Trump's conditions-based withdrawal was valid, and I think the Taliban were scared to death of Donald Trump because he's irrational. People don't know what moves he's going to make next. He took out Soleimani in Iran, and so people thought, don't mess with Trump. Nobody thought that about Biden.
So with all the craziness taking place, I believe future looks bright. If you believe future looks bright, get your latest Future Looks Bright hat of Valuetainment. It says Future Looks Bright here, Future Looks Bright here. We got them in white, we got them in black, we got them in red. Our black on black sold out. These are about to sell out. If you haven't ordered one yet, we had a person in Michigan, bought one, then he bought 3. Then when those 3 people weren't in the office, they had to order 58 of them because people wanted the Future Looks Bright hat, especially during times like this, because ain't nobody saying Future Looks Bright. To order your Future Looks Bright hat, click over here. And to watch the entire podcast, click here. Take care, everybody.